Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned before we took our break, we now turn our attention to three outstanding speakers on the topics of the importance of corporate history and archival management. Our first guest speaker is Andrea Schneider. Andreas is the president of our German equivalent organization, GUG. Gug. I'm not going to attempt. Okay, I'm going to attempt it. Geschäftsführerin. Geschäftsführerin.
Oh, that's too hard.
Thank you. Okay, I'll just skip over that part. This organization in Germany has been in operation for over 40 years, so we can learn much about them in terms of how to properly conduct our affairs and best interests.
40.
Sorry, did I say? 40, yes, 40, promoting the maintenance and study of Canadian business history. Welcome, Andreas.
So, after 40 years, you have this and even more. I just leave this here, and later you can have a look. I just picked some short things. Okay, hopefully, this one, yeah. So that's this thing with this many U's on it. You'll just forget about that. So thank you for inviting me. It's a big, big pleasure being here at this very, very moment of your association. Since I was a little in touch with you before, I was very excited, and I'm just glad that it's happening. And I want to give you my very best greeting of my AGM, of our association, which took place in March, and I pronounced that I'm going to do this, and everybody was happy, and we sent you, my association sends you the very best for your development. So that's my introduction. So as you can see, we have a happy anniversary, 40 years. Who are we? We are an academic institute to promote research in business history. And this is a little difference to many other associations in our field, because they are associations only created to organize conferences or things like that, and we are a real institute. So we have a fixed office with people working there. So that's a clear definition. Our institute is fostering academic exchange. We are an intermediary between academia and practitioners, and we are a partner with businesses. I'll give you a very brief history of our association. We're founded in 1967 with 16 founding members, so we were way, way smaller than you are already now here. Yeah? But it was even more complicated, because our roots really date back to this one, to 1956, when in Germany the first journal, this is called, if you can read tradition, of course, and it's called Journal for Corporate History and Biographies of Entrepreneurs. So this was done in a situation a little even worse than this here. About more 3 or 4 historians were dealing with business history, so that's not much. And they started these journals with support of an institution that's called Institution for German Business. This is still in place. It's a very important and very, for the economy, very, very strong institute. And this was somehow involved, but nonetheless in the 70s, this journal, which was owned by a publisher, broke down. No, not enough people read it. So these people met again and said, okay, let's think about how we can get this onward. And they were thinking about creating an association. In the first beginning, they were discussing if it's done within this institute, which already exists, or if it should be a single standard association. And as you can see, they decided the latter. So I will just give you a brief. And when we were founded in 76, we had rebranded this journal. From that day on, it's called Zeitschrift für Unternehmensgeschichte, which is Journal for Business History. The little thing here, you can see, I brought it with you, is what it actually looks like. And you will have a premiere. I will show you now how it would look like next year, this one. Because we will changing our publisher, because the journal belongs to us, so we are also not the publisher owns it, it's ours, and we change next year. And it looks not, it's the size here, the screen's a little fantastic, but you can see a little as it is. So, coming back to our foundation in the 70s, this is the founding signatures of our members, and I just highlighted some of the companies there. It's like the big but like here, we have banks, Deutsche Bank, we have Daimler-Benz, you all know Daimler-Benz, Mannesmann is not existing anymore, Robert Bosch and Henkel. And the big one here in the end is this institute, which was very much involved in our foundation and kept on going. And so this is what you just said had here before. This was our founding annual meeting, the minutes of it. And these 4 people were elected in the board. So we had a professor, a historian, Professor Troye became chairman, like you did. And we had someone from Daimler-Benz who became vice chairman. And we had the head of this Institute for German Economy become the treasurer, like Mark is. And we had Manfred Pohl, who was from Deutsche Bank, and he was the executive. This constellation kept for a while, but meanwhile our board is still consistent of historians and of business people, but mainly the business people are the people who are running the thing. So what did we after our foundation? We started with 2 conferences per year. We were editing our journal. And after 1 decade, we started to enroll projects. We built 3 archives, and we did a research study on slave labor for Daimler. But these 4 projects, to be honest, were not the best. It was not good. So what changed after a while? In the 1990s, we had a huge restructuring in the whole organization. It was more or less 20 years ago when by chance it happened that I entered this association. But the whole thing had necessarily nothing to do with me. I was a part of a plan to change everything. And what we really did is we did undergo a huge process of professionalization. That means we exchanged our whole academic board. So we put in really the big shots, the big people, the well-known people, international people. We introduced lots of quality control and evaluation of our works. This had not been done before. So this is something that's very important to be on a good side of the story. On top, in the 90s, as you, I think, know, we had in Germany, especially in whole Europe, lots of research ongoing, which has to do with the question of the role of enterprises in the NS period. And of course, we were, as an institute, very well received. And this had 2 effects. One effect was that in our field, the professional, the people at university, it just enlarged dramatically because so many people have been done research in our field. And on the other side, the companies and corporations understood that it's very, very important that history is done by professional historians. Because before that, more often, or we just had a talk here a short while before, they used journalists, old prior owners, or I don't know, inside people who were not able to really do history. So today we are a little bigger than you. We have 403 members, of which 118 are corporations. We have a management board. This is this combination of business people and academia. We have an academic advisory council. This is 13 university professors and 2 archivists. And we have a board of patrons, which is about 30 business people. And they are only allowed to be people of the board of company or the supervisory board. So it's very high ranking. We are an institution, non-profit, but we are a holding. That means we have a subsidiary that runs our projects meanwhile. And mainly for our archival project that we're running today, we have hired staff. So at the moment I have 7 archivists working for me. And for our research projects, we use cooperation with universities. So this is contracted work we are doing with many universities all over the world, sometimes even with Japan. This was my far most outreach I had. So what are we still doing? We are creating platforms for historians and archivists inside companies. We are supporting firms that don't have any archivist or historian in the company. We run lots of working groups for historians at the university, but also for people in the field on certain topics. We have regularly one yearly huge conference addressing academia, one public conference, and various conferences, workshops, events with companies over a year. I just show you that these are the specialized working groups we have or had over the time. As you can see, lots of various topics. The good thing from this working group is since they have a long time frame, that people are meeting regularly, that all are working on the same field. So our banking group is the oldest one. As you can see, it's 20 years running already. And so you have about 70 people who meets once or twice a year to discuss topics on this field. So the total output after a while is really helping our discipline to develop forward. Recently, we also entered the field of education. That means we are running now a workshop for gifted students of the foundation of the German industry. This is so far interesting because these students are not historians at all. They are lawyers, economists, and from all other disciplines. And we think it's very important to have these people because they are transmitter and they make business history more known. Because even though we are 40 years old, not everybody knows that business history is an existing field in the world. So this is one of our tools. And the other thing, it's just something that's important in Germany. We have projects for schools. We develop case studies that can be taught in the high school level. We have the publications, that's our Zeitschrift, and there's a series of monographies where our prize for business history, and this is what you are giving out, something like that, our prize automatically goes in our series here. And how are we working? And this is what I can tell you, it's network, network, network. That's a very, very important part of the whole story. If you be in a economy world or business world, would be the unique selling point so far has been that we are the only organization with a combination of historians and firms. And now they're gorgeous. You're the same. It's fine. We are happy to have that. We are networking, of course, within Germany, and we are networking internationally, so with the European Business History Association and the International Economic History Association. We have lots of cooperations, like with congresses, so we did it with the BHC, with the British this year. We will go something with the Japanese in 2 years, and hopefully once we will have you, or we come over to you and make a joint conference here in Canada. And we do network with the archivists and the corporate museums that also are under our umbrella meanwhile. And all this networking led to the fact that I just put in the bottom here is that we were honored to be the host for the first World Conference in our field in business history in 2014, which is Bergen. It's now the first big blown-up congress, and that was really a wonderful experience to have these people all over the world in Frankfurt. So we also explain also the businesses, why they should be in business history. I just say the first word is Zukunft braucht Herkunft. This is Schumpeter, that means a future needs tradition, needs the roots. And so we say the management should better know the roots of the company. We try to make them aware that sustainability means that you should have company history and you need especially documentation. And also we try to make them understand that if you want to use history as a means of communication, your first step is that you really need a good research on this history. We have several ongoing projects. That means one of our favorite that's really for the business historians at the university is this online list of business archives in Germany. That means every business or corporate archive is listed here online, and you can check which files they do have. You can find the contact people there, and this is really very helpful and highly frequented. And the other thing is an online museum guide, which is also very nice for the people outside. So this is just a brief view. I don't want to go into the detail because then we can sit for now another hour. This is the research projects we are at the moment doing. There's another 2, so it's 12 at the moment that are ranking from huge companies to Mittelstands company or special questions to the history of companies. From this comes a lot of publications that, of course, every year something. On the right-hand side, this is something we don't do so often. The Tatort Unternehmen, this is, here you understand that Tatort is a criminal series in German television, and it means that, what is Tatort in English? Chris. Okay, he will think.
What's it?
No. It's the setup of a criminal act. It's the place where something happened. So
Scene of the crime.
the scene of the crime. Thank you. Yeah, the scene of the crime is this business, and we had a wonderful conference on this topic, and this is the proceedings of this conference, which we usually don't do because mostly it goes to our journal. And this list is something that I think is much more important. This is the list of archives we are creating, developing, or optimizing for companies, because this lays ground for future studies. Because without the archival material in these archives, we will be in future not able to do our research. So this is 10 archives at the moment that are working with us, or we are creating them for the companies. And our vision, we in Germany, we have at the moment a challenge to have new corporate members or keep our corporate members, because there is a change in the governance rules of many of the big companies. We gain companies, the smaller ones, the family firms, things like that, that's no problem. But the big ones have huge problems because they have new committees deciding on whom to join in a membership format. And usually these committees, they decide on what is good for our image and branding and what is good for our social community. And with the business history, we are not really in these two directions. So this is our really challenge, how to deal with that. We think we need a common understanding that professionals, open archives, and everything is very important for our field. And with this common understanding, we hope that business history can contribute to our understanding of our daily life. And this can help allocate time, effort, and money to universities in the end, and to corporations for our whole discipline. And the vision is still to keep on going with new cooperations, for example, with the new Canadian Business History Association, but also, like I put on here, with like institutes for family businesses or things like that, just to enlarge our outreach. So this was a very quick thing. I hope I was somehow in time. Thank you very much.